Hi everyone. Nice to see you. Welcome to our 14th Monthly Rampage. We've got Nadav, our head of product, with us, and Daniel, our head writer. And today, wherever you are this morning or this evening, we'll have a lot of interesting things because one big thing is that next month we'll be starting the third book, starting with Land of the Blind, which will be like an entire new adventure arc and with new stories to explore. We'll also be going over some Kickstarter updates from the first one we did, as well as going into the next Kickstarter we have planned for, which is exciting. And then we do the usual, which is going into the adventure from this month, which will be Nomads of the Droughtlands, and then previewing the miniatures and the ideas behind the Lands of the Blinds. And then at the end, of course, everybody's here for brainstorms where we can go over stuff together. But just first, how are you guys doing?
Good, excited. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to go over, a lot
Yeah,
of making fun of Daniel being sick.
yeah. So I'm not firing on all cylinders today. I've got a bit of a cold, so I'll be speaking a little less. But other than that, pretty good.
And one thing just on the technical side, because we're doing it on YouTube only for the first time, maybe Nadav for our Discord people, maybe you can just send them a link so they are sure they know
No.
where we are.
So I've mentioned it to them, and they're like, "No, we're just hanging out."
Ah,
so
okay, very
so
good.
it's very nice.
Nice. First to get some news things out of the way, especially for the Kickstarter. I think Nadav, you're up to date there, right? We've got some new things, especially for the whole Roll20 and Foundry stuff. How's
Yeah.
that stuff looking?
So Foundry stuff is done. Here's some previews you guys can see. It's very exciting. It's very pretty, and cool news to everybody who owns our stuff on Mammoth Factory. You're just gonna get all our Foundry shit for free.
Ooh.
If you have one of our adventures, you will have also this beautiful Foundry pack because we're just gonna add it in there. The Patreon tier for adventures only is gonna go up a little bit to $5. That will include the Foundry um, stuff, JSON and all that stuff that you need to put it on Foundry. And we're very excited. It looks really great. And the Roll20 stuff is just a bit stuck on the Roll20 side. We already sent it. It's just the last patch. We're just waiting for them, and we'll send it to you as soon as possible. The full PDF, we had some last minute changes again. So before it, on the day it was supposed to be printed, we were like, oh, wait, we did this error on this AC, and somehow we caught it on time. So that was great, but we did catch it before it was sent to print, and our test print is on the way, which is very exciting. And I'm going to be going to England to take a look at the quality of the book before we press print on the 1,000 copies. So that's very exciting. Uh, and but that also means that the final full PDF is done. So we're going to be uploading that to Pledge Manager for the Kickstarter people. So you're going to get the full book because before you got each individual stuff, but now you're going to get the full one, which is the
Nice.
same but together.
And so the Foundry thing is something that will be going on in the future as well for the future releases. So how does that exactly look like?
Great question. So the second we finish with this one, we're going to be starting at what we are at now,
Mm-hmm.
and if and because Andrew, our favorite Foundry guy, who's converting for us, he is going to be um, converting the current release first, and then starting to go and catching up to book 2 because book 1 is done. So I'm not sure if it's in reverse or in what order we're gonna. Yeah, probably it'll just be going backwards. I guess it doesn't really matter at this point, um, or not. No, actually, no. So current with one, and then starting at Vermeer Hoard and going through book 2, so that it can be done for Kickstarter 2. So Kickstarter 2 will, yes, that makes more sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which is a nice segue before we go into some questions like that you might have generally, which is exactly that Kickstarter 2, right? Because I'll reveal the thing that has not been revealed before, which is this landing page of the
Dun,
second
dun, dun, dun,
Kickstarter.
dun. Oh no, it still has the wrong date.
Oh well,
Well, there we go.
nobody's seen Mammoth Chronicles, the Hoard of Ghaundal, with the date, the correct one being
9th of May. So yes, we delayed it again because we wanted to make sure that by the time that people get a chance to back that, they definitely have gotten the book. So we were like, no, we can't do this. We want to make sure it's there, but do sign up because those numbers matter and it helps the algorithm. So go click that button.
Yeah, I'll put that link into the
need to update
YouTube
the
channel as well.
This is what happens like when the one graphic that column or graphic designer doesn't do. I was like, no, don't worry, I got it, and I forgot to do it. So yeah, I need to update that date again. So sorry, everybody, it's my fault.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, that landing page hasn't been linked before, so this is the announcement for this. And
46 people there?
Already 46 people, yeah.
We didn't say it to anyone. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
it's crazy.
Who are you, these people? I should, check.
Yeah, well, they're definitely interested. I think that's also a nice point for general, right? This is also a time for general questions that you might have. Can be Kickstarter related, can be anything that we'll mention because we're going into what will be the third book. So what we're releasing now for Kickstarters and what will hopefully will be another Kickstarter in the future. And exactly. And generally one question that we had towards you is there were some questions about, hey, I'm a new printer, like I'm getting into the hobby for the first time, or can also be especially like 3D printed related, but maybe also just generally like D&D and maybe for Roll20. Like if you have like resources that you like or you tend to give other people, you're like, for the first time with 3D printer, hey, look at this is a good introduction. If you could like post that into the chat and give that to us, that could be super useful resource for us.
Even better, either on Discord or as a comment on this YouTube video. That's even more helpful that way, because I don't know if the chat disappears or it's a bit chaotic. So is there a way, can they post comments already?
I don't know, but normally the chat should be visible, and I'll definitely go over it after. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, it doesn't seem so yet, but maybe yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Because with that, I think that's like the two big news and pieces out of the way. Also, one nice thing that happened is, I don't know if you people have seen it, is that Vince Venturella, who's a fantastic artist, did like a tutorial on glow and light sources, and used one of our Skaven busts. You know which one that is, Nidar,
Not
right?
Skaven.
Not Skaven, I'm sorry. Skeeves.
Skeeves. Yeah, so, and the funny thing is that he didn't know who it belonged to. So we want to send all of you, please, to go to that video. Please link the video.
I will.
And anybody who sees this, please just jump for a second to the video and write a comment. This model is by Mammoth Factory. That would be really helpful because we want to work with him, and I've emailed him and he didn't respond yet. No, not throwing shade. He's probably just really busy. But I was like, hey, use their model, by the way. It'd be nice if you just say it. It's by us. By hopefully.
Mr. Chow already has good inputs, but also a good question regarding the Roll20, because do you know if it uses the newest dynamic light system?
I do not know. It's a question I will pass on to our Roll20 guy, the amazing meditating monkey. Meditating monkey.
Yeah.
So I will find out and let you know.
Nice. Thanks for the question. And another just small painting related thing is our monthly painting competition, because it's a short month. Will be over in a couple of days. And we already got a couple of nice entries already from this set, which makes me very happy. And just going through some of these, which are fantastic. If it lets me continue. There we go.
Some of these are also videos that you can check in
these are awesome.
That are like rotations.
Yeah.
Some of these are really. All of these are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I can't wait for shit.
Yeah. And I like this one because that's.
I've never seen this one.
Yeah.
That's
that was from the Facebook group.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a selection. That's the Cyclops, which is always a bit of a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Just a small sneak peek, and for any painters, you still have a bit of time. If you're like a patron or a tribal of ours, you can just post those either on our Discord or on Facebook, and you'll instantly be entered in the painting competition for this month.
Make sure to post it in Discord in the painting competition thing.
Yeah. There's a channel for it. Thank you.
So much talent. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think we have one more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice.
Eye.
That's cool.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna be a hard one again.
Yeah. Every month it gets harder.
Yeah.
So the one from Magic is not this month? We don't know if he submitted it yet.
Exactly. There are some that have been done, but not yet like officially submitted. I'm sure there will be more.
There is one
soon.
diorama on our Instagram that is just so flippin' gorgeous.
Yes.
Go check the Instagram.
Let me just see if there's some more questions, and if not, we can go into the adventure. Yeah, I think we're good, because this adventure, do we have a date when it will drop, or just in the next couple of dates?
Maybe a couple of days.
Next couple of days, yeah.
Probably more than the next day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Nomads of the Droughtlands, which is our Lauren and Karakali focused, like Catfolk, Savannah based adventure, right? I know, Daniel, your voice is a bit rough, but so I'll try to take over some of those, but maybe you can just give like the very brief like overview idea before I go through some of the plot points, because this one, the writer on this was our very own Mr. Chow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Written with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, so Nomads of the Droughtlands is, like you said, it's all catfolk, right? It's basically set on a kind of subcontinent area, right, which is this like sweeping veiled savanna type kind of land that is, the idea is, has been recently unexplored to kind of people that would be that would be kind of the character POV type people, right? So the characters arrive there as part of an envoy, right, to basically meet one of the kind of kings that rules one of the realms in this place, and from there becomes embroiled in a kind of tense political situation between the groups that are kind of that populate this place, and that is being masterminded by a tiger-faced devil
I actually
of
think it's
classical D&D type.
We can say.
Can we? Can we say? Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
Rakshasas are a thing in mythology anyway.
Yeah,
So yeah. There's a Rakshasa in this one. That's
nerfed
the kind of
lower level Rakshasa, so
a slightly nerfed Rakshasa. Yes. Oh, Oh no, Kimea is not nerfed. He's just regaining his power, right?
Yes,
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, and it is very much like a Lord of the Rings scenario, right? Where you have like the king and Wormtongue that is whispering like
yes, yeah.
evil and weakening him.
Yeah, it's kind of the classic Rakshasa thing, right? Like being the evil vizier, right? Kind of being disguised, shape-shifting, mucking around and creating like a conflict and turning everyone against each other and that sort of stuff, right? So yeah, a big part of the adventure is kind of figuring out being a stranger in a strange land, right? And not really knowing everything about where you are, and having to kind of figure out who is telling the truth, who isn't, and also what perspectives people have are kind of more correct than others, right? Because often people will be lying without really knowing they're lying, right?
And also,
So,
while playtesting it, there's a lot of love put into the cultures, like these two different cultures, where the Karakali that are more nomadic, and you at the other side here, the king, you have the Lorin, who are like living in a city, very pride focused, but still they have this same god, right? Like it swings as the godhood, but still they're clashing a bit. And while you go into that land, you learn those two sides, but you still don't know who to trust and exactly what is going on.
absolutely, yeah. And I think one of the things we kind of wanted to do as well with the two cultures, the two, the Karakali and the Leorin, is that they, you know, there are valid kind of criticisms of both, and they both have misconceptions about one another, right? So they don't necessarily they're not necessarily as different from one another as either of them kind of think, right, in many ways. And a lot of like a lot of what you kind of you'll get from either side will be filtered through what they kind of believe about everyone else, right? And it's up to the characters to kind of think about think about what they've experienced and think about what they've seen and kind of come to their own conclusions, right?
And also, like, then like one of the tensions, right? Yeah, is this Rakshasa? But then also that because of his influence, you have these demons prowling the savannah and causing havoc and showing that this king is weakening. And one thing is, in the collection itself, you have all these different cat folk, these cat demons, but also this dragon turtle that almost seems a bit out of place. How does that figure in there?
Yeah, so old Oronake, so the dragon turtle. So the idea with the dragon turtle in the adventure is that this is an ancient dragon turtle, right? Like incredibly old, relatively steeped in kind of knowledge because it's been around for such a long time, um, and it remembers the time when Kimea, the Rakshasa, kind of first arrived in this part of the world and first attempted to kind of take over, right? And over time, the dragon turtle has in its advanced old age, it has kind of settled down to hibernate originally near the coast. And as like sea levels have kind of gone down and stuff, it's kind of gotten stranded in these kind of salt flat sort of area, right? And it's like its shell is above the ground, kind of covered in verdance, right? In grass and trees and stuff in this kind of big lifeless plain. And it's considered a kind of wise old sort of kind of almost kind of semi-divine beast by the Karakali, right? And in the adventure, it's important because it can kind of sense that Kimaya is back, right?
The Rakshasa.
The Rakshasa has returned, and it's kind of having these nightmares, and it's twisting around in its sleep, and it's causing these earthquakes, right? That the rest, like everyone else, kind of thinks is the result of, foul play by the Karakali, or something to do with the or the Leorin, or to do with the king weakening, or that kind of stuff, right? But actually, it's this creature kind of stirring and awakening to the danger, right? And yeah, the dragon turtle is actually like very important to the adventure, despite not being a cat in any way. Like,
Yeah, I just love that image of this like dried out like ocean bed, and you have
Yeah,
that turtle
it's
that
cool.
used to like rest there, and now it's like out of its habitat but still powerful.
Yeah, I mean, also the to be fair, the decision to make it this a very old, kind of very slow, very kind of half awake dragon turtle was partially mechanical, right?
Mhm.
Because this is a level 5 adventure, and if the characters fight a dragon turtle at level 5, they will usually get stomped, right? So yeah, so
God.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
But it worked out really well, and I think it's a really cool take on the creature.
Nice. Yeah. I love that idea, just this juxtaposition, but that still makes sense story-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like yeah. I had the pleasure to be part of a lot of those play tests and also run some, and I can say like the whole politics and the cultures coming together is really well done and really fleshes out the entire adventure.
I want to mention something.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
We're moving to the next topic, right?
Yep. Yeah, slowly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The, or if we're still talking about, I could wait.
No.
Okay. So, cool announcement, guys. We're gonna be at the UK Games Expo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Did
that.
I
Yeah, we
mention
are.
this last
No.
month? I don't know.
I don't think we did.
didn't.
No,
Yeah,
no.
so we're gonna have a table like 1 minute walk or less from where D&D is.
Way less than 1 minute, man.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
30 seconds.
exactly.
Less, maybe. Yeah.
Well, it depends how many people there are, and we're gonna be on a really central street inside the complex. So if you're in England or in Europe and you want to come over, we're gonna be selling a bunch of minis, and it's gonna be cool. It's our first dip into like the physical space a little bit, and that will be during Kickstarter too. So we'll also be getting some stuff there. We're not really sure yet what, but yeah, and we're gonna be selling some books um, and some minis and some maps and all sorts of stuff. It's gonna be very cool. I'm not trying to make you come buy stuff. We're just excited as a company to be getting there. And our main concern right now is how much stuff do we make and how much stuff do we bring, so that we don't run out, because there's gonna be like
How do we bring it?
no,
Yeah.
that's a car. I don't know what is the word of a car, but it's just like how do you know how to prepare for such a thing? That's the thing, right? Because it's a big endeavor. We're all a bit kind of like, what are the numbers for this kind of thing? So it's exciting.
Two very important questions in the chat. One from Mr. Chow is like, are these in printed minis, or do we have like casts for them?
It's a great question. So these will be 3D printed. However, they will be 3D printed by Only Games, and their resin is a little bit more superior in our experience than what you can get at home. I'm sure that some of you chemical geniuses like Elan can figure out how to combine the ABS, the thing, and the other thing to make it like the best shit ever. But the stuff that comes out of Only Game is really the best 3D printing I've seen. They have also a more industrial printer, obviously.
Yeah.
So when things do come from there, because they have they've had a bit of trouble over Christmas. So, but apart from that, yeah, we're really the quality is really superior to normal 3D printing.
Yes.
Will we have packaging? Yeah, we're also going to be trying to do some larger 75 or even bigger scale models to like maybe with its own design box. We're still figuring it out. It's not really clear, but because our stuff is kind of collectible-esque, like at least from the level of
Detail, right?
detail, exactly. We're gonna be asking actually our patrons and our tribes, which ones do you guys think would be the best? We already did this for the Kickstarter, so we could kind of just look at that list. Maybe we have that list already. Never mind. Maybe we don't. You guys. But yeah, we're gonna be printing a few and put them in nice boxes, and we'll see.
The second question from Larkbeard is autographed books? Question mark. Exclamation mark.
You don't want my autograph. It looks bad. It's like a drunk anteater just was like all over the page. Like you don't want to.
Oh, autograph. Oh, right, like Kickstarter books. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. If you show up, I'll happily sign the book, of course.
I mean, if you want to inflict that on your book, then sure, I'll do it as well. But I don't say I didn't warn you.
Instant positive response regarding like 75mm. One will the Kickstarter 75 minis be ready before the second Kickstarter? So the one from the first one that were unlocked.
Great question. It is in process. It's a tricky process because we're also trying to still bring our pipeline. I believe yes. I maybe like 1 or 2 or 3 won't come, but they should. All the pre-supported supersized things from Kickstarter 1 should be done before Kickstarter 2 launches.
Nice.
I can't really promise, but we're really trying. Yes.
Yeah.
Also, all the one-shots, because some people on Discord also asked, the one-shots that are part of Kickstarter 1 are also been playtested, been written. We're just looking to catch a break in the graphics pipeline and go like, hey, go. They're kind of ready. We just need to like find the final tunes, and we're really trying to bring. Basically, next month we're hoping to release the adventure. Should I say this? I don't know. We're hoping to release the adventure earlier, way earlier. Hopefully by the 5th or the 10th.
Wow.
Oh. That means that we're gonna start bringing the adventures to the beginning of the month as well. So it's much harder than it seems to do with our massive pipeline.
Yeah, it's like steering a ship, right?
Yeah, steering a ship and renting glaciers to attack other glaciers to avoid. Yeah, that metaphor only makes sense to me, but it's totally how
I think it's more like often like we're steering a ship and then we kind of want to make sure the ship is being steered perfect. So we're like, okay, so let's try somebody else steers the ship and make sure that the ship is fine. And then 3 other people can do this, and it's like, okay, cool, all right.
Okay, yeah. Exactly. And we got a lot of help, so thank you for everybody who has been helping in the last couple of months.
Yes. 2 very small inputs. One from Mr. Chow that I think everybody can resonate with is like all the Mammoth heroes in 75mm would be amazing.
That is kind of the plan.
Yeah.
And yes, Alasa will definitely be. Like,
of course.
We're gonna make her huge.
Yes.
Thalassa's already huge.
She just has heels, man.
I find it hilarious how much the heels add on the mini. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's like these are some high heels.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And Daniel Teletran says he wants a sketch, not an autograph. Which I think actually it could be a nice thing because we have like amazing 2D art, right? I have no clue what the situation is there, but
I don't know what. Maybe you can Teletran. Maybe you can expand on what you mean by a sketch. We do need to move on to the next.
That's what I mean. That's just a small fun.
I would assume just a little life drawing sketch on the side, just like
or a life drawing by Daniel.
Yep.
I think
that's definitely something I can do.
Then the whole stand gets taken over by Daniel, like doing caricatures of people.
Yeah, because talking about things to come is next month's collection, Land of the Blind from Raw, which before we go into the miniatures and to show the renders, what does that mean, and what even is a third book?
Right. So the third book, and the only reason I'm talking is because Daniel, if he starts talking, he will want to talk a lot because it's his beautiful, awesome, super developed legacy, if you will, that we're bringing as a third setting of Mammoth. So we had book 1 is a certain setting, and book 2 is an adjacent setting. They're the same world, but it's different timeline. And then the third book is this, which is it's called Arad, and Daniel's baby, and we're all very excited, and we've been playtesting it. It's fantastic, but we're playing a very specific section of that world. So we're starting the world with the worst part of it, or at least the under part of it, which is called it's called Deep Hold. Deep Hold is our version of or Daniel's version, Mammoth's version of the Underdark, and it will have. It's basically Australia Underdark, and it's basically everything there is trying to kill you, and everybody who is sent to Deep Hold is a criminal, and you get a brand on your wrist saying what was your crime, and you go there, and then, as luck would have it, you also get infected with this thing that makes you that requires you as a person, even though you've been sent down there and you're a criminal and all that stuff, you're also still required to go down even deeper to try to find a cure for this thing you're infected with. So it's a very interesting setting. It's a bit grittier, it's a bit darker. You don't have to play it like that, of course. There'll still be plenty of normal D&D things there, like UNT and Dark Elves, but we have our own different version of them that have their own lore and their own tone. Like the whole thing has a lot of tone. The gods are different. The magic works a little bit differently. Speaking of magic, which is it's the funniest introduction to this setting is basically you go down there, you're level 5?
Yeah.
5?
First, yeah.
Yeah. So you start level 5, and though you might have some magic is less common. And when so for example, one of the things that you struggle with going down there is light. I know everything has dark vision in 5th edition, but not everything. And the cool thing is that casting long-term spells attracts these soul eaters, which are really, really nasty monsters. So casting light for a long time will just mean that these guys, exactly, there we go. So these guys kind of roam, and they're attracted to souls. They like eating souls generally, but they get like a little ping on the radar when somebody does like long-term magic or like high-level spells. So if you do a lot of them, you add to this dice pool, and then like the DM rolls it, and there's more chance you'll meet them. And yeah, so basically magic is a little bit less for granted and a little bit harder to do, and they're terrifying to fight because they like steal your spell slots and shit. So really, really fantastic part of lore, and it's a really interesting way to kind of mitigate the over magical situation that happens in many 5e things. Like you basically become gods really quickly, and we will have like a setting which is called the Delvor's Companion. At least calling that this for now. We're not sure if it's the final name, but it will include like how we recommend, what kind of rules we recommend to run this adventure with, about this kind of magic and these kind of tools, and how to address this and how to address that. So we're giving a bigger, more fleshed out tone and narrative and feel than just like here's an amazing library of things which you can use in any D&D kitchen sink, but this will be a bit more its own full-on story. And we'll be jumping between so this third book will be this setting, but then every half a year or so we'll be jumping back to the other setting. So many different things will be happening, but you'll be getting this kind of mix of like Eora and Evine and Arad, and jumping between settings. And maybe we'll do some sort of rotation, maybe we'll do double releases, we're not really sure yet. There's probably going to be a Kickstarter of its own of a full-on extension of Arad, which will just have some boss minis. We're not sure yet. Plans.
Would it be accurate to say like that this feel, it has a bit of like survival, but also maybe like a Bloodborne, almost Dark Souls thing, where it is you're down there, everything might want to kill you, but also this exploring like an ancient civilization you don't understand, like a lot of like show don't tell, where you just explore things. You see like statues of some god you don't understand yet, but you know there's lore that will slowly reveal itself, right?
Mm. And even more, there's also you have to delve, because delving is the only way to really. I mean, there are people who are like kind of merchants or something, but like to really get ahead, and well, especially because you're infected, you also need to go down that path. But delving is really the way of life, kind of, for many people who are trying to maybe a little bit more than just survive. And there's a whole city down there which has a whole bit of lore, but we'll get into that more. We are going to do a post about this, about the next 6 months plan, actually, with names of sets and general themes. So you'll have an idea better of like what our third book looks like.
Nice. Should we go into some of the other minis, and maybe that also gives a bit of more
Yeah.
feel?
Absolutely.
Because before we go, just to see like some of more of the monster minis before we go into some of the humanoids, is one of the larger minis of the next set is this blind behemoth, which I think in its name itself already tells you a lot, right?
Yeah, it has a very, very self-explanatory name, pretty much, right? But yeah, this was a really fun one to playtest, actually, in terms of like what it does in the adventure. Yeah, I love this thing. This thing is it's like a kind of ancient giant that has been kind of mutated by radiation deep beneath the earth, right?
So you have this like bit of corruption, but also adaptation, right? That you have. Sure, everything has dark vision, but I think like this one and also some of the other creatures we'll see like don't actually even have eyes because they've adapted to this world, to this setting.
Well, the Land of the Blind don't have eyes for a different reason. That will be we'll expand on this in the actual adventure. So it's interesting also because they are intelligent creatures and they work on tremor sense. Is that correct to say?
Yeah, tremor sense and a bit of blind sight, right? Like keen ears as well, right?
So it's a different tone. You can like mess with them a little bit, but also like they hear also much better than.
Yeah, I mean this guy here is a little less developed in terms of how he functions than the other ones, right? He's not as good at being blind as some of the other creatures. So you know, facing him is actually kind of a bit of a runaround, right? Like trying to like make sure you're being quiet so he doesn't know where you are, that kind of thing, right?
Speaking of other creatures, the last like monstrosity are these beautiful things, the devourer beasts, which
Yeah, they have little mouths on their feet, which are really creepy.
Yep.
I don't know if you can zoom in.
Should be possible, yes.
Yeah.
Barely. Yeah, and also like these tentacles. So yeah, things you do not want to meet in the dark. And again, no need for eyes because
Eyes are overrated.
Exactly.
Tameable puppy.
Yeah.
Tameable.
I mean, there is a smaller version, so
there is a small.
There is, and it kind of is puppyish in a way, I guess.
Oh no, people will make it a mount now. For those of you who mentioned the renders, yes, they do look a bit different. We're experimenting a little bit with a different look for book 3 because book 3 is more cohesive. So all of book 3 will have the same or more similar kind of look. So that, but it's also to distinguish it from the other settings a little bit.
Yeah, and I think feedback also on these things are always welcome, right?
Always.
Let's go away a bit and let's go to some humanoids, right? Because there are these wretches and dread knights, the Vorasir dread knights. What is their stick?
What is their shtick?
Yes.
So basically, so actually, like in this setting, the the kind of first vampires are elves, right? Who kind of betrayed their fellows and kind of basically turned to the dark side, right? And a lot of them ended up as these creatures eventually, right? Not the wretches, but the Vroasir, right? Vroasir is actually meant to be like an elvish word. Right?
Mhm.
It's like the original term for like a vampire. So this creature, this Dread Knight, right? This dude is a vampire.
Ah.
He's like a vampiric elf from like a long time ago, who has these kind of this sort of like these fear-inducing powers and kind of shift and kind of shadow shift, and doesn't do the blood drinking thing, but kind of leeches life force, right?
Nice.
And it leads the other like the wretches and stuff like that in this area.
So could one see those almost like elven vampires born?
Yeah, I mean, well, the wretches are. I mean, the wretches are not actually vampires themselves. It's just I mean, yeah, I mean, the Vrasa, the Dread Knight, absolutely, basically an elvish vampire spawn, right? The wretches, these guys are. The idea is that when in this setting, when kind of the first sort of dark elves appeared and were kind of forced down into the world below, right, by their kin. A lot of them kind of despaired and kind of kind of got lost in the dark, and eventually, after many years of like mutation and despair and hunger, turned into these things, right? So these
Mhm.
guys are basically just like they're kind of like Morlocks, right? Like from the Time Machine or from D&D, right? The Morlocks
Yeah.
are in D&D, but these guys are basically like elves, or the descendants of exiled elves that have kind of become these creepy underground cannibals, right?
Mhm. And then, like, almost to contrast this a bit, right? You have also these more warrior type elves.
Yeah. So these guys are these guys are. I mean, they're the same. They have the same history, right? But they haven't. These would be a group that haven't kind of descended completely into being like mad, sort of like diseased kind of monsters, right? They're still they're still pretty mean guys, right? But they are intelligent. They can make weapons. They can they can do magic and stuff like that, right? But yeah, they are just like their wretch kind of friends. They are blind. They have no eyes.
You would not
We might,
want to invite them for a cup of tea.
No,
No.
maybe not. No.
we might want to go easy on Daniel's voice here. Yeah. with
Yeah,
all the
no,
questions.
sure. Yeah. And then a part of that also, especially like for this setting, there are also a couple of humanoids that will feature in the adventure, where maybe Nadav, you can speak a bit on them, or also on the design idea.
Yeah, well, I think those fantastic three women, and women apparently is much harder to sculpt. David, our head sculptor, the genius, he always like, no, why so many women? It's so hard because we want to get them right, you know. And it's guys like, but like women, you don't want to make them too sexual, and also they're very important characters, so it's always tricky to get. And yeah, if you want to know more about them, you'll need to read the book. There we go. We're gonna save ourselves they're really fantastic, and they all have quite an important, well, some of them more than others, important roles in this specific story. So in this case, the three NPCs, the Mammoth heroes we did for this month, are these three awesome ladies.
Nice. Um, let us return to this one real quick, and let's see what are some. You're asking me to read now. Yeah, so for the Devourer, you said there are some smaller, like there will be a smaller miniature, and I assume like
It was
from
there. You showed it.
and was there, but
Mhm.
yeah. So from these, are there some still missing from the next month, or like terrain and other things?
There is one piece of terrain that is like a shrine temple thing, but I think that's it. It's a bigger set than it looks because there's a lot of variations of some of
Yeah,
them.
like the
So
poses of the worldlings and the wretches are quite detailed.
yeah, that's a good idea, Helen of Troy. That Helen of Troy. Maybe it's inspired by it, huh, Daniel? You lazy man. No, I'm joking. He's not lazy at all. It's probably probably an accident. Is it? I don't know. But no comment. Daniel doesn't need to talk anymore.
Comments indeed.
Thank you for the kind words, Dutchberg. And we'll also soon post on Patreon on Tribes these images so you can look at them in detail on your own time as well. Yeah, with that, if there aren't any other questions right now, we're slowly coming to the end of this. We'll, as always, jump over to Discord. I'll also probably post the link in the chat, and then on Discord we'll be brainstorming a bit. Our focus this time will be like terrain pieces, just what things would you like to see, what you like, what would you actually use in your games, be it D&D, be it Warhammer, be it some other kind of tabletop, just to get a bit of an idea of what you're looking in there, because that would be...
We want to increase our terrain output, so and it doesn't have to be related to the sets, by the way. We're going to be doing terrain and then like terrain for the sets, and it's going to be, so we might call it this like we have Mammoth Heroes, it'll be Mammoth Rocks or something. I don't know what it will be, but we'll have some sort of name for non-related to the story terrain that comes out every month.
That marks our end. Anything last words you want to say before I post the Discord link?
No. Are we posting the Discord link there? Oh. No, I think that people who have access to the Discord, that we're brainstorming with our Patreon, so whoever's a Patreon is welcome to jump on the tavern, and we're gonna go and have a little brainstorm about terrain.
That sounds perfect. Thanks so much for joining us, and have a good weekend.
Bye.
See ya, people.
Bye.